The studio lights of The View were bright and buzzing with anticipation on that crisp morning in late 2025 when country legend Dolly Parton made her entrance. The audience erupted in cheers as she waved her signature sparkling nails, her blonde wig perfectly in place and her smile as warm as ever. The co-hosts, including Whoopi Goldberg, greeted her with hugs and compliments, praising her timeless appeal and incredible career spanning decades. Joy Behar, seated to the side, offered a polite nod, but her eyes held a glint of something sharper. The conversation began lightly. Dolly shared stories from her childhood in the Smoky Mountains, her Imagination Library charity that has gifted millions of books to children, and her recent ventures into rock music. She spoke with her gentle southern drawl, charming everyone in the room. The energy felt positive, the kind of feel-good segment viewers tune in for. But beneath the surface, tension was already simmering. Joy leaned forward slightly, her expression shifting from friendly to inquisitive in a way that felt more like an interrogation. She complimented Dolly's philanthropy but quickly pivoted, asking if it wasn't partly a clever branding strategy to maintain her sweet image. Dolly laughed softly, saying charity comes from the heart, not headlines. The audience murmured in agreement, but Joy wasn't done. She pressed further, suggesting that Dolly's constant positivity might be a shield hiding deeper complexities. The room's warmth began to cool as Joy's tone grew more pointed, hinting that perhaps Dolly's persona was more performance than authenticity. Dolly remained composed, her eyes steady, ready for whatever came next. The segment was about to take an unexpected turn that no one saw coming. As the discussion deepened, Joy Behar steered the talk toward Dolly's iconic look: the big hair, the makeup, the rhinestones. "Don't you ever worry that young women see your image and think success means conforming to outdated feminine ideals?" Joy asked, her voice carrying an edge of judgment. Dolly paused for a moment, then replied with grace, "Honey, I dress for myself, not for anyone else's expectations. I grew up poor, and glamour was my way of feeling special. It's not about pleasing men, it's about surviving." The audience applauded, but Joy doubled down. She questioned whether Dolly's kindness was genuine or just a marketable trait, suggesting it allowed her to avoid real controversy. "You're always the nice one, the harmless one. Isn't that a bit convenient?" Joy pressed. Dolly's smile faded slightly, but she didn't raise her voice. Instead, she shared a personal story about facing criticism her whole life, from Nashville executives who wanted her to change to modern critics who called her style tacky. "I've never hidden who I am," she said. "I've built an empire on my terms." Joy countered by bringing up politics, implying Dolly's silence on certain issues was cowardly. The co-hosts tried to steer back to lighter topics, but Joy persisted, her questions turning into accusations. Dolly listened patiently, her hands folded in her lap, but the air grew thick with discomfort. Viewers at home could sense the shift of the friendly chat had become a challenge to Dolly's entire identity. The tension mounted as Joy leaned in closer, waiting for a crack in that famous composure. Dolly's eyes sparkled with quiet resolve, signaling she was prepared to defend her truth without losing her dignity. The moment felt electric, like the calm before a storm. The argument escalated when Joy made a direct jab at Dolly's legacy. "Your whole career is built on this fantasy of the perfect woman, sweet, sexy, submissive. Don't you think that holds women back?" she said sharply. The studio fell quieter. Dolly took a slow breath, her expression calm yet firm. "I think young women are smart enough to choose their own paths," she responded evenly. "I never told anyone to look like me or act like me. I just lived my life the way that felt right for me." Joy scoffed lightly, calling it a cop-out, and accused Dolly of profiting from traditional roles while pretending to empower. "It's all performance art, isn't it? The wigs, the nails, the songs about heartbreak. It's designed to keep you relatable and non-threatening." Dolly's gaze hardened slightly, but her voice stayed soft. "Everything on TV is a performance, Joy, yours included. But my heart isn't fake. My work with children, my donations, my music, that's real." She went on to describe the struggles of her early years, the poverty she escaped, and how she used her platform to lift others up without apology. Joy interrupted, insisting that true empowerment means challenging the system, not playing into it. The exchange grew heated, with Joy's tone rising while Dolly remained steady. The other hosts shifted uncomfortably, trying to interject, but the focus stayed locked on the two women. Dolly finally spoke up more directly. "You've been talking at me this whole time, not with me. You've questioned my motives, mocked my appearance, and dismissed everything I've built. If that's what this is about, then maybe we need to rethink why I'm here." The audience gasped softly. Joy looked taken aback but recovered quickly, firing back that she was just asking tough questions. But the damage was done. The tone had shifted irreversibly. Dolly leaned forward, her voice still gentle but carrying undeniable weight. "I came here to talk about music, books, and hope, not to be dissected like I'm some puzzle to solve." Joy opened her mouth to respond, but Dolly continued without pause. "You've spent the last few minutes implying my kindness is fake, my success is superficial, and my choices are backward. That's not curiosity, Joy, that's bullying." The word hung in the air like a thunderclap. Joy's face flushed as she tried to protest, but Dolly raised a hand calmly. "I respect your right to ask questions, but I also reserve the right to walk away when respect isn't mutual." The studio was silent now, all eyes on Dolly. She stood slowly, unclipped her microphone with deliberate care, and placed it on the table. "You can turn off my mic," she said quietly, "but you can't silence people like me. I've spent my life speaking through songs, through stories, through actions, and I'll keep doing it, with or without this platform." She turned to the audience and the cameras. "Thank you all for the love, I appreciate you." Then, with her head high and her signature smile returning softly, she walked off the set. The applause started slowly, then swelled into a standing ovation. Joy sat stunned, her mouth slightly open, unable to find words. The other hosts looked shocked, one whispering something off mic. The cameras lingered on the empty chair as the segment cut to commercial. In that moment, Dolly hadn't shouted or stormed. She had simply chosen dignity over drama. It was a masterclass in quiet power, reminding everyone that true strength doesn't need volume to be heard. The internet exploded within minutes, clips going viral as people praised her poise and criticized the ambush. In the aftermath, the clip spread like wildfire across social media, racking up millions of views overnight. Fans flooded comment sections with heart emojis and messages of support, calling Dolly a queen for handling the situation with such grace. Many pointed out the irony. Joy, known for her outspoken views, had been rendered speechless by someone who refused to engage in ugliness. Pundits debated whether it was a planned takedown or an organic clash, but the consensus was clear. Dolly had won without raising her voice. Clips showed her calm exit contrasted with Joy's visible discomfort, fueling discussions about media respect, celebrity personas, and generational differences in handling criticism. Some defended Joy, saying she was pushing for deeper conversation, but most agreed the tone crossed into personal attack. Dolly herself stayed silent at first, posting only a simple thank you to fans on social media with a photo of her smiling in the studio before things turned. Later, in an interview, she addressed it lightly. "I love talking, but I don't love being talked down to. Life's too short for that." The moment became a cultural touchstone, inspiring memes, think pieces, and even parodies. It highlighted how one person's restraint can speak louder than any argument. Joy later issued a brief statement saying the exchange was passionate but that she respected Dolly's contributions. Yet the damage to her image lingered. While Dolly's star shone brighter, the incident reinforced her reputation as someone who rises above negativity, proving that sometimes walking away is the most powerful statement of all. It wasn't about winning an argument, it was about preserving self-respect in a world quick to tear down. Looking back, that day on The View marked more than a viral moment, it became a symbol of grace under pressure in an era of heated debates. Dolly Parton's decision to leave rather than escalate showed millions that boundaries matter, that kindness isn't weakness, and that true empowerment comes from within, not from applause or ratings. The event sparked broader conversations about how women in the public eye are treated, especially when they defy expectations. Younger fans drew inspiration from her example, sharing stories of setting their own limits in toxic situations. Even critics who once dismissed her as lightweight had to acknowledge the depth behind the sparkle. Joy Behar's approach, while perhaps intended to provoke thought, instead highlighted the risks of condescension. The View continued, but the episode lingered in public memory as a rare instance where daytime TV delivered real human drama without scripts or sensationalism. Dolly returned to her life via touring, writing, giving back and unfazed. She never gloated or revisited the moment bitterly. Instead, she let her work speak. Songs about resilience, books for children, and acts of generosity continued to define her. In the end, she silenced the noise not with words, but with action, walking toward the exit with her head high, leaving behind a lesson in quiet strength that echoed far louder than any shouting match ever could. The world watched, learned, and remembered that sometimes the most profound response is simply refusing to play a game that's rigged against you.